5 critical components that will feature. And yesterday we had another opportunity to look at 2 more. And these are facilities that are going to be running under Ascent. So the first session that will take off will be looking, and this facility is one that's going to enable investors, be it private sector, to project bankable investments. I'm sure that you have heard policy provision and so forth. So the session that we are going to start with will specifically be focused on the project facility that will specifically address and is focused on providing advisory services. That will come right after this session. With the brief presentations and panel discussions. At this point, allow me to welcome on stage Ahid, almost similar names. Ahid, will also ask you to please take a seat and you will be presenting.
My name is Heidi Akran. I'm a Principal Investment Officer from the International Finance Corporation. The International arm of the World Bank Group. We look to support the private sector in delivering solutions across different industries, including in infrastructure, which I sit in. And I've been asked to give a framing vision for private sector participation. And is that. And I would just note, click, the size of the issue. So most of you are already aware is that no country in the world has been able to deliver on their infrastructure needs without private sector. But at the same time, private sector solution is when the private sector work together hand in hand with the government to deliver this issue. More private sector participation. So these numbers just show the scale of the issue and for the Mission 300 and Ascent program. So the World Bank Group, together with our partners AFDB, by 2030. How do you do that? We see that we do that through DRE, Distributed Renewable Energy. Solutions have started to ramp up in several countries in sub-Saharan Africa, and we expect them to continue to grow. I'm going to do a quiz on what was we have estimated that we will need over nearly $150 billion from the private sector by 2030 for these DRs, hybrid solutions, energy application and innovation, and energy efficiency, and demand management. A lot of this is what is being covered on the... Now, again, I believe these slides are going to be circulated, but I guess what we wanted to show is what is the M300 scope across these sectors, and what is the, on IFC, is on DRE solutions for sub-Saharan Africa. Now, what has IFC done in distributed generation? We have mobilized funding for your needs. So we bring our own money, but then we can bring partners along to help meet the funding needs for the project. Did this, you can see, when you look at what we've done in the DRE space, these are relatively small ticket sizes, and mainly has been on the debt side. Both debt and equity is even increasing. And we have been trying to think about ways of efficiently, as we came through, like there is this PEPT that we have here. So this was the electricity for all, that was a securitization vehicle that we would use the receivables from DRE projects to pay for the financing raise. And we thought that these are to try to reach a larger investor base. We've also supported funds who then go on to lend the money. You can see a lot of debt investment. But what we came to quickly realize that a constraining factor in the DRE space is also the need. And not just any type of equity. So we had launched a vehicle is to provide patient equity, and in patient, this is long-term equity. So we designed this structure. The Zafiri, compared to a normal fund, is an open-ended vehicle. A fund usually has a lifetime of maybe 10 to 12 years, and the fund manager is usually under maybe even longer. So Zafiri is designed to be such a partner that can walk with DRE investors before that. So it's, again, I won't go through everything here. You will have the slides later on. I think the key point is it's addressing the fragment. So how have we done this? I'm not sure. Let me just check whether I included this. If not, I will take you through quickly the key points. To have concessional funding forever. You don't want to, I think somebody brought that up earlier on, are the shareholders of this vehicle. Zafir will be managed by an investment manager, so we are in discussion with the investment manager. Sorry for the technology, sorry for the technologies in the crowd, whether I'm not using the right terms, but
Thank you very much for the presentation. I hate you can take.
Those projects that are originated by the public sector, support to private sector, distributed renewable energy and clean cooking. It will offer support to the private company, project preparation companies. Project preparation companies. We can offer grants that are used by those who can offer the eligibility, process of application, the template application, the template documents that must be filled, and they will prepare the template. Document to make it easier for TDB. But most of the time, they are not investment ready. I called it in my mind the water war philosophy. Correct whatever the deficiency that TDB is rejected them for, and correct whatever the deficiency that TDB is rejected them for, and push back to TDB who must pull rejected them for, and push back to TDB who must pull from us, and the circuit is completed. Out from us, and the circuit is completed. Out all the details is completed. Out all the details that those who seek financing should know. Those who seek financing should know.
Through what it is, what it's provides, message or takeaway is, okay, so what? You've been doing this, what have you achieved, right? What we have achieved so far, which is how we kind of tick our success, that we also have.
Like Malawi, where we are the.
It depends, but otherwise we are. It depends, but otherwise we are one of the leading solar companies in Malawi, and what we actually do is we provide solar equipment on leasing to own model. Solar equipment on leasing to own model. So
yeah, so it's always exciting. There's a lot there, I guess.
Okay, and last but not least, Linda, you represent Gogla. Last but not least, Linda, you represent Gogla.
Hospitals, 4 public and 4 private, because again, we want 4 public and 4 private, because again, we wanted to test, who's going to pay, who's going to pay and who's not going to pay. But the assumption was that government is not going to pay and is not going to pay. But the assumption was that government is not going to pay. But on mine, the assumption was that government is not going to pay. But on mine organically, so I think it's what we have done on our side is to prove that model. It's what we have done on our side is to prove that the model can work, and I think it's really in the hands of
financing. But the great thing is that and also the grants for TA from COMESA, which is
sales agent, because
COMESA, which is
sales agent, because we value what we call customer choice. What we call customer choice, because that's also responsible for the loan they have. The need for
in the country. So maybe and what are the difficulties and how it was overcome. Touch upon the regulation, and then we can move to Philip
To wrap their heads around the technical risks of the project.
Our approach now is to bring the anchor load, particularly the producers of energy, as the way to build sustainability. So we're expecting with the country that we have is a very large and with difficult in terms of infrastructure like the roads and so on, having mini grids on last miles.
I'd like now to move, last but not least, to Linda from Gogla. And actually, I wanted to keep you at the end because you represent, obviously, the voice.
To intervene to sort of ensure that these set of companies is bankable. So across 18 different, as we've heard from the different companies, sometimes TA is really key in de-risking investments. So we want to actually ensure that throughout the program, great that we're talking about technical assistance and, the key impacts of it, but I think I would take this opportunity, since there's policymakers in the room, just to also keep in mind that, and that, these businesses also have a proper holistic ecosystem to operate in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. And I think with clear outcome, the need for very solid business models. So business model, financial modeling to ensure the long-term sustainability and investability of the projects.
I'm not gonna. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just show 2 slides. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about the next session, because the next session is actually important for all of you, because it will be, or you updated the plan, you put it on the website, the ministry, the mini grid person comes in. I would love to have